dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we'll take it flight. Our word is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Let's talk some business.
All right, welcome in. Thank you guys so much for being here with us on this wonderful Saturday. Tell us your business name, what you do. Let's get this party started. Let's get the conversation started. We've already got Barb checking in from North Central Minnesota. Minnesota Custom Made is her business. So Barb, thank you so much for being here. So my name's Aaron Montgomery. This is my lovely wife, Kylene Montgomery, and we're excited today, Kylene. We're going to be talking about, well, let me rephrase. I know I'm excited. Some people, pricing is a tough thing. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Pricing can be difficult. Pricing can be a big challenge. I don't know if it's just me being weird, but I love this whole concept of talking about pricing strategy and figuring out the best thing to do and how do we reach our customers. And, you know, I don't like the whole do this or do that. It's like, hold on, let's ask more questions, right? So what we want to talk about today is what to charge, how maybe to display your pricing, and when you should display your pricing, right? So sometimes we don't think about that when it comes to pricing, like when, right? So we're going to have that conversation today. Before I even let Kylene talk today, I want to encourage you guys to go out there and share this with your network. Let's get some more people in here. That way we have more perspective, and the more people we have tuned in live, the better the conversation is going to be, and the better this program will be for all of us to be able to see more and find better solutions for our business. So we appreciate people like Chuck checking in this afternoon. Hello. Thank you for being here, Chuck. So Kylene, hello.
Hello. Thanks everyone for being here. I'm excited for this topic too. I think this is a really important one that some of us, I don't know, just get stuck in our heads a little bit with pricing. So yeah, it's going to be really good stuff today. But like Aaron said, we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear your comments, your questions, your thoughts. We all learn together. So the more we can share and have this conversation, the more we're all going to learn and grow. And also, you know, hit the like button, share with your fellow entrepreneurs. Anyone you think needs to hear this, please share this with them. Or subscribe over on the YouTube channel. I got to look at this. Oh, you have it on there. liveosg.com. That's easy.
You have to look at this.
I saw the I was like, HTTP. I'm like, I'm not going to say that.
Goodness. You're like Ron Burgundy. I love it.
I got to keep you on your toes, Aaron.
That's right. That's right. So get over there to liveosg.com. I don't know if this is actually what the kids are saying these days, but, you know, mash that like button, subscribe, all of the fun things. So,
did you say mash?
Yeah. Come on. I'm hip. Even though I'm 50, I'm cool.
You've been hanging out with Lewis. I like it.
I have been hanging out with Lewis. So good morning to Rena. Thank you for being here, Rena. And so I guess as we get started here, you guys, we're talking about pricing. What are you hoping to take away from today? Right? Kylene and I have an outline of things that we want to make sure that we cover. But to be honest with you, at the end of the day, we show up every Saturday for you guys, the ones that tune in, the ones that comment, the ones that are engaging and being action takers in this whole thing. So what do you hope to take away from today? Or what do what's your thoughts on pricing? For me, Kylene, my hope is that people look at the way they price it. So I would call this our pricing strategy, right? What is your pricing strategy? And I just hope that people will look at it differently. I've been really blessed to be able to travel the country teaching how to master pricing for profit. And some of the best comments that just really kind of hit home for me is people in the testimonial. So there's an evaluation at the end, and I always get a copy of the comments. And a lot of the comments say, it just made me think about my pricing differently. And this particular show actually came from a conversation that I had with one of the OSG partners. And they were kind of saying, hey, what do you think? Should I do A or B? And then Kylene's favorite thing that I do, I answered their question with another question. And we very quickly discovered, not too much further into the conversation, that it was actually answer C that they were looking for. So that's my hope, is that we look at our pricing differently. How about you, Kylene?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my intention really is for people to understand the value that they bring to their product, that it's not just the actual physical thing. It's the value that you as a person bring to it. And it's that uncommon mindset that Aaron was just talking about. I hope that really comes across today, because it really is important. This is what your livelihood, this is your passion, your dream. So I really hope that that comes through today.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, you talk about the value that they bring, and I think you hit the nail on the head. That is crucial to this whole thing, is that it's the product or service is just the vehicle to provide the value, right? And what's really the value is what you're doing, the problem you're solving for your customer, and then looking at what that means, right? So just real quick, this isn't even part of the notes, but like your pricing with yoga, Kylene, for a long time, you were really struggling with what the pricing model was. But when you kind of realigned with your values and the ideal customers that you work with, the pricing strategy changed drastically, right? There's no longer a price. It's donation based. Right. Yeah. So, nobody would recommend that. No coach would recommend that out of the gate. But in Kylene's circumstances, it actually works better than when you were trying to, what's a package that we could charge, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, anyhow, I just, you made me think of that real quick, and I wanted to share that. So, Kylene, we're going to break this down into 3 pillars like we normally do, but maybe you could just describe those real quick for anybody that's new to Small Business Saturday here.
Yeah. So we have these 3 pillars that we feel kind of like look at yourself holistically and your business holistically. And we always start with, well, we switch the order of them, but mindset is one of the pillars. So really just getting yourself embraced in the uncommon mindset, and really having that strong focus and belief in yourself, and moving forward. And then the wellness side, looking at all the different areas of your life to take care of and manage, so you can show up and have better outcomes as a result. And then the fundamentals is really that's your foundation. Those are the not the how-tos, but kind of the how-tos, if you will. But that really, yep, exactly.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. Well, yeah, like I said, we switch up the order from time to time. Today we're going to go mindset, wellness, fundamentals. These can, so order doesn't matter, right? Everything's cyclical anyways. And so kind of looking at it from that front. But before we dive in, I do want to ask, if you're tuned in live right now, or if you're catching the recorded version of this, I've got 2 questions for you. I'd love to have your answers. A, what is working for you when it comes to your pricing strategy? What do you feel like is really working great? I mentioned Kylene, right? So you would probably say, yeah, moving to a donation-based pricing strategy is what's working well for you, right?
Yeah.
But then secondly, what challenges do you face when it comes to pricing and setting your pricing strategy? So Kylene, anything that shows up for you there?
Well, it's kind of unpredictable, right? You're just not quite sure if you're going to have the outcome, because you're not sure what people are going to donate. I have some data now after doing it for a while, and kind of what the average person donates. But so that can be kind of challenging, especially if I look someday at renting a space and things like that. Like, there's other costs that come into play. So that's a challenge that shows up for me.
Okay, cool. So I'd love to hear from you guys that are tuned in. If you can type in the comments there real quick, what's working for you when it comes to your pricing strategy? And then what challenges are you faced with when it comes to your pricing strategy? So I'd asked earlier what you guys hope to take away from today. So always welcome to type that in at any point too. So, all right, well, let's dive into this, Kylene, because we do have a lot of ground that we had planned to cover. So this again came from a conversation that I was having with an OSG community partner, and I want to actually read it to you guys. And I'm going to, take out the names and change a few things because it's not about this person per se. She knows who she is, and I asked if I could use this topic, and she was all on board. But I do want to just so you kind of have real specific context to this. So the question was, I have several different types of personalization to offer on my products. And she said what her products were. And they all take different amounts of time. If someone wants to buy a product with a simple name, they're going to freak out because the pricing also covers those that want a longer special message. So the question was, do I lower the price on each of the products showing the lower price? And then if they click on it and choose a longer personalization, then they see an additional price. Right. And so that was the original question, right? And then we got into it. And so if you I wanted to read that because I wanted you guys to see this. This person was looking at this from an A or a B option, right? Should I have the lower price and then do an add-on later, or should I just leave it one price and not have to worry about adding on anything later? And price higher or price lower and then add on, right? So on its face, though, that's a really difficult decision. If that's, because that was all that she was making her decision based on was that, should I do this or should I do that? And, for me, I was like, gosh, I don't want to, it's important to me that I provide quality information. I don't want to tell somebody, give a suggestion to somebody, and then they follow my suggestion and it doesn't work for them. Right. So I was like, oh boy. And so I brought up another question, and then kind of we started talking about it, and then that brought another question up for her, and she says, does the price on the main page under each individual price look deceiving if I'm adding more changes as per their choice, right? Like now all of a sudden she's starting to think about her values, right? Like,
Mhm.
oh, I want to look like I'm deceiving people, like kind of that, oh, I'm going to get you in the door and then I'm going to take advantage of you once you're in the
Mhm.
door. And so, at that point, though, I think what most of us do, at least what I did for a long time, and what I've heard other people do, is the next step for them is they're going to go compare. They're going to go look at, well, what are the competitors doing? Right. This particular person went to Etsy, and right, and like, okay, well, if they're doing this, I'm going to do it this way. Right. And so fortunately we were having this conversation because I think that's where we go. And then we set our price and then we just hope that it works. Right. And then we don't really have enough data to tell us why is this working or not working. Right.
Mhm.
And so my question, my kind of final question that I asked her was, what do your ideal customers value? Right. And so I guess first thing I'd love to talk about here quickly, Kylene, is how do you deal with that frustration when you ask me a question looking for an advice of an A, B option, and then I ask another question that maybe guides you to an option C, D, E, Z, right?
Yeah.
How do
Yeah.
you deal
Well,
with that?
I first have to take a deep breath, right? And then I can respond. No, I mean, it's really important because sometimes we can get stuck in just what's right in front of us and not dig a little bit deeper into why other things are important. And I do feel like that is your superpower, um, is looking a little bit further ahead and understanding the actions of what our customers are wanting. And
Mhm.
they might not care so much about just what's right in front of them. They might
Yeah.
actually care about the value. They might actually care about different things. So for you, when you ask me these questions, when I just am looking for, think I need a simple answer, um, it turns into a longer conversation. I really get a lot more clarity and an understanding of what it is that I'm needing.
Okay.
Um,
So you have to be willing to look at the big picture is how you deal with the frustration, is what I'm hearing, at least.
After I take a deep breath. Yeah.
And maybe, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
she's like, this, I chose this. I remember I chose this.
no, I mean, I'm thankful for it. I think in so many different areas of our life, it's important just to dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're doing here.
Awesome. All right. Well,
Yeah.
joking hopefully about the frustration. I know there is some frustration, but we're joking, and
Yes.
happy anniversary, sweetie. Our anniversary is tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So
Yep.
we are going on our anniversary dinner tonight, though. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so let me circle back then. And
Yeah.
great comments, Rena, Barb. I want to get to those. So I've highlighted those. We're going to come back to those here in just a second. But so my question again was, well, what do your ideal customers value? And when posed with that question, her answer was quality embroidery, quality packaging, and exceptional customer service. Okay, great. And so I pose as another question, because at the end of the day, she's got the answer. I don't have the answer, because it's not my business, right? If it was my business, yes, I should be able to come up with that answer. It's inside of me. I just got to be willing to go find it. But this is her business. So I can guide and I can maybe give some ideas, but the answer's got to come from her. And so I kind of said, well, okay, it seems like to me, your ideal customer doesn't care about the lowest price, or, going with that Etsy store that doesn't have any overhead, or doesn't even know how to price their products. And so what if, could you make it to where you don't even show the price until they start adding personalization options, right? Until they're already kind of sold, like, oh yes, I want this. And then, because I think at that point you take the price out of the conversation and you're focused on the front end of the buying process. Again, this is on an e-commerce platform, so we're thinking about this as like a buying cycle, but the reality is that's what's happening, right? They see the product and they're going through the buying cycle just as if you were talking to them on the phone. Mm-hmm. And so in that first section, your job is to really sell them on the quality embroidery, the quality packaging, the exceptional customer service, all of that. And then you can start getting them to, add their personalization. Then they start seeing pricing and stuff like that. And now you can then, in an e-commerce situation, the cool part about e-commerce is now you've got data, right? And mm-hmm. as you can see, okay, at what stage are they leaving, right? They're here, and then they got to here, and when it was time to add the personalization and the price popped up, they left. Or, oh, they made it to the next step and they went to check out, and then the shipping popped up and they left, right? So you can kind of extrapolate some decisions from there. And so I very much appreciate this. Sometimes I have a hard time accepting compliments. So, and I know that that's actually rather rude of me to not accept compliments. So I'm getting better. But she actually said in the message, "You're brilliant." And so I humbly accepted that compliment. But the reality was, I just had the benefit of perspective, right? And my mindset is to always question and ask why. So every business is unique, and what matters is alignment with your values and what your ideal customers value. So really, that's the mindset part of this whole thing, as far as I can tell.
Most definitely. Yeah. And I think it's huge, because you're looking at it just at a deeper level and really understanding what it is that you are offering. Because anyone can offer, for example, if you're selling mugs, anyone can sell a mug, but what makes your mug different? And it's really getting in that headspace of understanding your uniqueness that you're bringing to it.
Yeah.
And the people that you want to serve.
For sure. For sure. Okay. Well, let's hit these comments real quick here, okay. Kylene. Serena says, having a set hourly rate has helped the most with pricing for me. Biggest challenge is competitor pricing, right? And I think, again, we kind of talked about that briefly. We have that tendency to want to go see what the competitors are priced at, but at the end of the day, ultimately, if the competitor's pricing is what's keeping you from winning business, then either A, you're not talking to the right people, or B, you're not showing the value that you provide, right? Yep. when price becomes the lowest common denominator, you've done something wrong. I'm sorry. And I'm not speaking to Rena directly here. This is for all of us. So
Mhm.
I'm not calling Rena out in this scenario. But the reality is we have to provide value to people, and we have to show that that value is there. Right. So if the competitors are pricing it really low, well, you have other people buying from you. Why are they buying from you? Right. And
Mhm.
really understanding that. So honestly, we went pretty deep in that in the recent marketing roadmap program, and even deeper in the workshop side of things. So that was something that was really a big part of setting up our marketing, is just making sure we really understand what the value is. And the cool
Mhm.
part about that is then we can use that for the rest of the things in our business too, right? So we're using it for marketing, we're using it for pricing, we're using it for how we set up our processes, we're using it, right? So that alignment is actually holistic. We just happened to talk about it recently in the marketing program. Um, yeah. Uh, and people that are then going to go look at this a little bit later next year when we have a couple other programs, they're going to get even more clarity every time we do
Mhm.
it. And it's
Mhm.
pretty cool. So, Rena, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. And just know that you have a ton of value, and people buy from you because they want to buy from you, not because of your price. Right. And so
Yep.
price is what's the determining factor. Then that's probably not the right customer for you,
Yep.
because you're amazing, and they just haven't figured that out yet. So,
Yep. Well
all
said.
right. I do also want to share with Barb's comments here. She says, I have a pricing sheet with formulas for the embroidery, especially when customers has me order the garments. I have retail, wholesale company, commercial, and school sports leagues, right? And so my pricing is reviewed quarterly. I have separate pricing for custom sewing and alterations. These are my guidelines as all jobs are quoted. I have set pricing on my website or on Chiply for ordering, right? And then she says, I agree, Rena, on having an hourly rate, as we need to pay ourselves. I don't look at competitor pricing. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah. And then Barb says, I agree, Aaron, know your worth. And I guess to clarify, it's more in my head. Absolutely. And
Yep.
thank you for clarifying that, Rena. And you're totally not alone. Right. But I think once we can start kind of naming and being really clear on the value that we provide, it starts taking away that kind of in my head concern too. Right. So,
Mhm. Yep.
Kylene, you seem like you
Well,
want to say
I was just gonna say, that is the mindset, right? That is understanding our value. And when we get really clear on that, when we see that competitor's price, we understand how we're different and why it looks different than theirs.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's so that's the mindset part, Kylie. We're gonna come back and we're gonna hit the wellness. We don't have a quote unquote commercial, but we did want to share something with you guys really quick. If you wouldn't mind giving us about a minute or two to share something. We are in the process of building up the Masters of Success group, and we're taking applications for people to be a part of that community and be part of those calls. So I'll tell you guys about a little offer I'm working on that I'll be coming out later in the month, but we're going to give it to you guys right away, and you can be part of that. But Kylene, you obviously are part of our success group, but you're
Mhm.
also a member of one of the Masters of Success groups, and,
Mhm.
and Masters of Success as a whole. Could you just give people real quick kind of the rundown of what it is?
Well, it's amazing. Can I just say that? No.
Yeah.
It truly is like you have a bunch of business partners without having business partners. You develop this trust and relationship with other growth minded people, and you get to share any concerns, struggles, celebrations, things like that, or just look for different perspectives on your business. And you get that in return. Everyone is there for the right reason, and they share because everyone wants each other to succeed in this group. And it's just really powerful to get all this different insight, and then you get the accountability of it, right? And I think that's the true part to growth, is that we have a team surrounding us to keep growing and moving forward.
Yeah.
It's pretty powerful, these meetings.
Definitely. So,
Mhm.
and just to kind of expand on that just a little bit more. So this is this is a very structured program where it's facilitated. I have a very specific formula. In fact, I have a whole chapter in the book about masterminds, and that's exactly the way that we run these programs. So again, the call's great, the relationships are great, accountability is a huge part of it, but it really is a structure. So we make sure that people are building the fundamentals at the same time as being part of these calls. So it's not just, okay, what are we talking about today? Right? Because we have that at times. People show up at the calls and like, I don't really have anything. And sometimes we get even deeper in those moments. But the reality is we need that success team around us. And so this is an ideal way to do that. Plus you're going to get the coaching, plus you're going to get the guidance. And it's just a really, really fantastic program. We look at people like Sandy, like Becky, like Allison, like Wendy, that have been part of the program for a while, and just looking at where they're at, as far as reaching and achieving their goals. It's incredible. And I'm super excited to be a part of that. And we're ready for more. So we're officially expanding the program. Anything else, Kylene, before I kind of tell people the quick little offer here?
I was just going to say, if you guys want to schedule a call or chat with us or send us a message, if you have concerns, questions, you're just curious about something, reach out to us. Reach out to other members. If you want to talk to another member, I'm sure they'd be willing to chat with you too. If you have, if you just want another perspective on it before you make that decision.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we would certainly, so we do have an application process because we do want to make sure that it's a right fit. And this is in no way, shape, or form, like you said, let's have a call, to have a chat with Kylene. We're not here to sell you on why you should come. We want to know what you need and make sure that this is a fit, because it doesn't do anybody else in the group any good if people don't come to it with the same kind of mindset and understanding of what it really is. So we want to be really clear on that.
Yeah. And I think that's why it is a success, is because of that. People are all there for the same reasons. Yeah.
We don't just kind of open it to the masses and hope that it's going to work out. It's a very curated situation. So as I mentioned, I just wanted to give a little offer to the SBS folks here real quick. So at the end of the year, just based on costs and everything else, we are going to need to raise the pricing. I haven't figured out exactly how much yet. I'm trying to keep it down as low as we can to make it accessible for everyone. But there is a lot of work and hours and time involved, and also the software and things to run everything. But if you are to sign up before the end of the year, you will lock in the pricing that you'll see on the website down there. And that is your pricing for as long as you're in the group. So even when it's gone up. So we've had other folks that started even earlier and they're still at that earlier price point. And that's totally fine. Well, that's my responsibility, not yours. So, lock in those prices first and foremost. Secondly, I'm making plans for what 2025 is going to look like for our success group. And we will be doing 4 workshops next year. So we just got done with that marketing workshop, and huge success, great feedback. So that will be happening at the beginning of the 4th quarter next year. At the very beginning of the 1st quarter, we're going to do a goal getting, actually. So just FYI, we all set goals. My responsibility to you is get you a plan that you can actually achieve the goal. So we're going to have a goal setting program at the first of the year. We're going to have a pricing strategy program at the start of the 2nd quarter. And then we're going to have a business planning business design program at the beginning of the 3rd quarter. And then, like I said, the 4th quarter, we'll do the marketing workshop again, and, improve them every time. And so those are kind of separate standalone programs. But if you're somebody that becomes part of the MOS before the end of the year, you will have access to all 4 of those at no charge. So we normally give the Masters of Success members a pretty deep discount to be part of those programs, because we know that that's going to help them too. But for those of you that sign up before the end of the year here, you will get all 4 of those next year at no charge. So
very cool.
I didn't tell Kylene about that yet, because she probably would have tried to talk me out of it.
Oh, I wouldn't. I think that's awesome.
Well, I know you think it's awesome, but we also need to earn a living ourselves. So I
True,
sometimes
but
give things away, but I think this is really valuable. So no, I'm teasing Kylene more than anything, you guys. So all right, Kylene, let's dive back into this pricing thing here. And I think as far as I'm concerned, and everybody that I'm hearing in the comments here, again, if you're somebody that's watching and haven't commented yet, just at least come in and say hi. Let us know that you're tuned in, what your business is, but tell us what's working for your pricing strategy right now. And don't be embarrassed. This is a judgment-free zone. All right. I promise. Because I actually said this to somebody the other day. Here's the deal. There's only two people that can actually judge you, right? The man upstairs, right? I think he's got the right and the responsibility to judge us, and then us internally. If somebody else is judging you, that's just their lens. So it's probably them judging themselves more than anything, right? So whenever I have like judged somebody, I immediately realize, oh, that's me. I'm looking in a mirror and I'm not actually looking at them. So anyhow, judgment-free zone. So tell us what's not working, right? Tell us where you're struggling. And again, we can talk about it, right? We can bring that into the conversation here. We've got these points that we want to share, but honestly, at the end of the day, if we don't give you information that's going to help your business, to me, that's not a success. So, all right, Kylene, but this is your pillar that you are so strong in. And honestly, you've taught this to me. So I kind of sit at the feet of the master here when it comes to wellness. But help me explore this wellness aspect, right? Because I know the other part of this is when we start thinking about pricing, sometimes we do kind of forsake our values just to get more business, right? And I can't say never, but I would say rarely at probably closer to never, but rarely does it bring about long-term success. So, talk to us a little bit more about the wellness aspect of pricing strategy.
Yeah, I mean, when you are doing something that doesn't quite align with what's important to you as a person, it starts to create that negative energy inside of us. It creates that conflict. It creates just the negative feelings about what you're doing. And over time, that builds. And then that leads to the burnout. It leads to the things that don't allow us to keep going. We're not thriving at that point, right? So it's really important to understand the values that's important and to you and your business, and then take care of yourself holistically. And this is the part that I think some of us give up really quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you're jumping way ahead here. So hold on.
I'm sorry.
Slow your roll, lady. I know you're excited about
my
this.
tangent.
That's all good. All good. Well, so what I'm getting at here is, again, why are we talking about wellness to begin with when it comes to this? It's like pricing that has nothing to do with how I eat or exercise, right? So,
but if you're just giving away your products and you're not valuing your own time, your expertise, your uniqueness, if you will, to the service or product you're offering, it's not going to feel very good when you don't see any growth in your business or you're not like thriving, right? So it's really important to come back to what it is that makes your product unique and why people should buy from you. When you're out of alignment with that, that means that you really need to kind of sit back and use some of the tools in the wellness area. I don't want to get too far ahead, but
all right. Well, so I think let's do this. Let's just go back and the person who sparked this conversation for us, right? Let's put ourselves in those shoes. And so if the partner didn't go back and think about what her and her ideal customers valued, maybe she would have just ended up getting those lower price point orders, right? And then she'd end up with some orders, certainly, and that's a good thing, right? So we're not trying to poo-poo on that. But the customers might not have cared about the quality and to value her time, right? So she's like, man, I didn't get enough out of this, so I can't put in all that extra, right? So I need to skimp on maybe the packaging, or I just can't do the level of customer service that I need to do, right? So at that point, right, then what happens, right? So that's Kylene,
Yeah.
what happens when we're at that point where now all of a sudden we're feeling taken advantage of, even though this was our own doing, right?
Yeah. That creates the burnout, right? We're not feeling fulfilled. We're not feeling that joy. We have more regret. Like, what are we doing this for?
Yeah.
And then that creates some of that negative energy. And then long term, our business might not be as successful as it could be, and we might not have a business. Um,
Yeah.
so,
Awesome.
so really, it's looking at valuing who you are and valuing your time and doing the things in your life holistically to take care of yourself so you can be clear-minded, you can dive deeper into some of those mindset and side of things and understand um, what's important. And when we look at wellness, we're also looking at sleep, we're looking at meditation, we're looking at financial wellness, we're looking at overall health, all the different areas of our life. All of that contributes to how we show up for our business. And so that's why for me wellness is so important. So when we go to this like case study, if you will, or conversation that you had, when you're just attracting people who just want the cheapest price, and that's not important to you, and it makes you feel kind of used, it doesn't feel good, right? And we're not going to keep
Absolutely.
going.
Yeah. It actually reminds me of another story here real quick. And you guys have probably heard this before, so I'll be brief, but I did have somebody come up to me in, actually was at a Dax, Minnesota show, and was just saying, she kept getting all of this, what do you call it? When you fix clothes, shoot, I just lost it, right? I need to take up a hem or,
Oh, okay. Like a seamstress type?
yeah, like a seamstress, right? She wanted to do embroidery, but she was getting all the seamstress work, right? And was like, and then so we ended up on her Facebook page, and I'm like, well, your Facebook page shows all of the seamstress work that you've done, right? All of the alterations. That's the word.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you.
Barb. All the alterations that you had done, and that and so I'm like, so why don't you show some embroidery? Well, I haven't gotten any of those jobs, so I didn't have any pictures to take. I'm like, do you need a shirt for yourself, or maybe you could make some for a friend, or get a piece of Pellon, or you're right. Like, this is kind of the cost of doing business. But again, what do you want, right? What are your values? What design this business and take actions and steps. So that's not necessarily going to pricing, but again, when we think about our business holistically, are your policies in alignment with your values? Is your pricing in alignment with your values? Is your marketing message in alignment with your values, right? Et cetera, et cetera. So, Kylene, I would say that we need to set our prices that are going to respect our time, that's going to respect our expertise, and care, right? We put in care, we put in love, right? This particular person is selling, and I won't get it right. She says it way better than me because it's her thing, but like packages of joy or something along those lines, right? So it's that type of thing, and so pricing is separate from all that. So you set your price based on that, as opposed to set a price and then determine your values around your price, what you can afford to do, basically. So what else there, Kylene? You had mentioned burnout.
I was just going to say,
talk a little bit more about that. Yeah.
Yeah. When we're not in alignment, we're feeling that negative energy. And so we need to keep doing the things to keep ourselves healthy, keep our minds healthy. And so we can truly come back to all these things that are important to us. So, looking at, even though we're going into the busy season, you're taking care of your sleep, taking care of your diet, taking care of just moving your body, meditating, journaling, whatever you need to do to recenter is really going to be important all the time, but especially right now, if this is a busier time for you. And if you are feeling like maybe you're not in alignment, that's even a better time to know that you need to slow down for a little bit and spend some time here to understand why.
Yeah. Well, and to bring this back to pricing, Kylene, I know you like to go off on on the big picture there, that part. But to bring this back to pricing, right? If we're stressed and anxious because we're not making the money that we need to make,
Yeah.
right? That type of thing. So, yeah. So, and I guess, Kylene, to kind of wrap up the wellness part here too,
Mhm.
the other thing that I would say, and again, we mentioned this to Rena earlier, she's amazing and she
Yeah.
deserves to get the prices that she needs to get, right?
Mhm.
You know, you guys, Barb's amazing, Jerry's amazing, the people. So you guys are all unique and amazing in your way. And so just ask that one more question of why, because at the end of the
Mhm.
day, the partner that I was working with, I appreciate her very much for saying that I was brilliant. But the reality was we were brilliant together
Yeah.
because she answered the questions, right? I just put the questions in front of her, you know, and we just talked about the Masters of Success just a moment ago, right?
Mhm.
That's what we do. I'm a facilitator, not somebody here to say, do this, do this, do this. So,
Yeah.
yeah, good stuff there, Kylie. Anything else on wellness before we get into the fundamentals here?
No, I think we're ready.
Okay. And then, you know what though? Actually, we do have one more thing on wellness. Just this will be
Oh.
tangent side note, but how does the time change affect us?
Oh, it does. It really does. So I think that's when we do incremental changes sometimes, right? Maybe we start adjusting, going to bed a little bit earlier, and then we can adjust for the time change. But um, I think it's even more important when we have an hour an hour doesn't seem like it would disrupt us, but it sure does. And
Yeah.
and so it's really important to come back to our diet, and to maybe you take a nap until you get used to your new routine, to keep
Yeah.
ourselves charged and
Yeah.
energized, and movement, go out for a walk,
Yeah. Yeah.
things like that you can do to keep yourself moving forward and not spiral down if you get.
Well, and also understanding that it has nothing to do with the actual hour, the
No.
time.
Yep.
It has everything to do with our rhythms. And you know,
Mhm.
when you're now, you know, either going to bed when it's dark or, you know, waking up when
Yeah.
it's dark, right? It's that rhythm's out of alignment. So, you know,
Mhm.
yeah, being more intentional about, okay, what do I need to do to kind of get moving if it's dark out compared to, you know, the sun's coming up, right? And
Yep.
you know, and if you're at work already and the sun's coming up, well, then like Kylene said, right, get outside, get some energy, go out and take
Yep.
that 10-minute break outside with the sun being
Sunshine.
on you,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Go get that vitamin D. So, okay. Thank you
Yep.
for the question, Jerry. Let's dive into the fundamentals here, Kylene.
All right, let's do
Okay.
this.
So yeah, as you mentioned earlier, this is kind of, you know, the putting it into action. Um, and yeah, Barb, will
Yeah.
you read that in my notes? All right, hold on. We're getting there. Barb says there is psychological pricing, such as items at $9.99 instead of 10. It's funny how 99 cents makes customers think they're getting a bargain, 100%. But let's talk about that. So hold on. Before we talk about that, I want to make sure that we've got the steps, right? So that's going to be something in just a moment. But the first crucial step, Kylene, is to make sure you have a very clear understanding of who your ideal customer is and what it is that they value, right? What is the problem or need that you feel for them? So the partner actually attended that recent marketing roadmap workshop and the sessions. So she was really clear on what her ideal customers valued. And so that was very helpful in making it happen. And the reason why that's so crucial is that allows you to ask more why questions, right? And we need to ask more why questions when we're determining our pricing strategy. So, for example, what Barb was just talking about there is psychological pricing, right? Walmart calls it the rollback, right? As we look at that, like some things they have at 94, 95, 97 cents, 99 cents, right?
Mhm.
Or should you use a whole number? But the problem is we can't answer that question until we understand what our customer value. Because some people, yes, they want to feel like they're getting a bargain, but other people would not buy because it's a bargain. They want the status, right? So they'd rather pay $10 because they want that status of going, hey, I'm getting something exclusive, right? I didn't
Yeah.
get the bargain basket thing where I rummaged through right. And so understanding what's important to your ideal customers then allows you to make that choice because we can go I love digging in and learning about psychological pricing. There's so much that goes into that. There's so much data that's been done, so many scientific research studies. So you can find out just about anything about how we tick when we make a buying decision. But
Mhm.
how one person ticks is going to be different than how another person ticks. So you've got to understand who your ideal customers are and how they tick first before you can then say, should I pick A or should I pick B? Because in the case of this partner, Kylene, it wasn't A or B, right? It was a second option
Yeah.
of maybe not even showing the price until the customer was already sold, where I'm going to use air quotes on that, on the quality and desire. Because again, this is happening on an e-commerce platform, but there's still that sales cycle process going on in that,
Mhm.
right? So the other practical application of this is just as a reminder, I guess, more than anything, Kylene, is you're not selling a product or a thing, right? Ultimately, when a customer makes a buying decision, you're solving a problem or filling a need, and that product or thing is just a tool to do that.
Yeah.
So, and then to take that even one step deeper, e- even getting more deeply into why they make that buying decision is they're utilizing your service to solve a problem or fill a need that is actually based on an internal feeling. We're only seeing their external need. They need the thing, right?
Mhm.
But the reality is their buying decision is going to be completely made upon, does it check that internal box that either takes me away from pain or takes me towards pleasure, right? And
Yep.
and that, I know that seems crazy because it's like, some people maybe I'm like, it's just a t-shirt. No, it's not for them, right? It's a need.
Mhm.
It's taking them towards pleasure potentially, right? Where they get to stand out, they get to have what they want, they get to make their business known, right? Whatever it is. But there's this internal feeling that happens inside that is important. And I guess, Kylene, if there's anything else to add there, and before I keep going.
No, I was just going to say that could be some of the most important thing. One of the most important things we've said all day is what you just said. It really is just a tool to get us there. What we're actually
Yeah.
selling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jerry says, as long as I can remember, gasoline prices have always ended in 9/10. Absolutely. We don't even notice that. But here's why, Jerry, right? Because gasoline is a commodity. And so we're looking for price is the only real denominator, right? They've tried to go to different grades. I don't know. I personally don't know anybody that does anything other than the regular gasoline, right? Now that's, maybe I've heard somebody go with the premium every now and again, but the reality is gasoline is a commodity. So if you're selling a commodity, this might be a different conversation, but typically we're not selling a commodity. In fact, what we're doing is never a commodity, because if it was a commodity, they would just buy the blank product or, something like that. So, really good point, Jerry. I thank you for bringing that up. And then Barb says, yeah, offering a customer a bargain, middle, and higher priced item, customers can surprise you. You may think they'll go for the bargain, and then they go for the higher priced quality item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
And I think customer options can give you more income. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But again, knowing that and really understanding that, some people don't like to make decisions, right? And they're like, just tell me what to buy. I need you to make this simple on me. I don't need to I don't know. Yeah, it sounds great, but I don't know. Right. And so now you've made them feel inept potentially, because now they have to become a clothing expert. I don't know what good, better, and best mean. Am I getting taken advantage of if I go for the best? Because I want the best, but am I getting taken advantage of? Right.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not, Barb, you're 100% right. I'm not arguing with you at all. I'm just saying we got to think about that extra step, right? Your ideal customer might be different. And so really understanding what it is that they need is crucial to this. So, all right, Kylene, I know we're getting towards the end here, but so what we just talked about there is and I appreciate you saying that that's probably the most important. And I agree, it is the most important thing that we've probably shared the whole time here. Other than Masters of Success. Wink, wink.
Yes.
I'm kidding. All right. But as businesses, we typically go backwards, though. I don't know if you've experienced this. I know I've experienced this. We say, here's my thing. Do you want to buy it? And then we try to explain how it solves their problem.
That's me.
Okay.
Yeah, that was me for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we need to do when it comes to our pricing strategy is we need to flip the script.
Mm-hmm.
We need to understand how we can prove that we can solve their problem. And the best way to do that is through the age-old storytelling method of the hero's journey. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so the hero's journey, pretty simply put, is you need to introduce the character, you need to introduce the challenge, you need to introduce the plan, right? You need to somehow solve that challenge. And then to make the story a conclusion, to close that circle, is you have to share the success, right? You have to end the story. But we can use this in our business too, right? So first we need to, again, introduce the character. So we need to make it clear we see, understand, and relate to who they are. Right? And most of us miss that right there. And now we're just hoping that we connect with the right person. So again, really important to understand who your ideal customer is. Then after we can make it clear that we see, understand, and relate to them, then we need to make it clear that we see and understand their problem or need. What is that challenge? And from their vantage point, right? Like I made this mistake for many years inside of our success group, actually, especially the first few years. We were not seeing it, right? And I was thinking the problem was this, but people, maybe that's where we got to. And honestly, that's always where we got to with everybody I've been able to help. But the reality was they were in their place and they didn't care about the business plan, the mindset, the blah, blah, blah. I just need to know how to survive another day, right? I've got so many things on my plate. I'm overwhelmed. Right? And so for a long time, I would go, hey, I know you're overwhelmed. I know you want to get your time back. So here's a big homework assignment. Spend some more time doing this. And so I wasn't relating to their problem, right? And so at that point, then we can kind of go, okay, I'm now related. I'm showing you that I see and understand what your problem is. Now, let me just give you a little bit of a nugget. Share what the plan is. How are you going to fill their need or overcome their challenge? How do you do it? Only. Still not talking about the product or service at this point, right? And then what I would recommend, my suggestion is stop there and see if they're interested. Most of us want to vomit and go all the way to now, and I can do 16 colors and we're going to do this. And the reason I say most of us is because that was me. We need to stop here, right? Yeah. But we need to stop here and go, are you interested? And see if they say, yeah, interesting. Tell me more. And then we add the last step of a quick description of what their life could be like after they do business with you. What is that success? And here's the great news. If you did the work and you put in a little bit of effort and found a little time to work on your business and determine who your ideal customer is, you're going to be talking to ideal prospects that will almost certainly say, tell me more, right? Because you left the story loop open. That's another thing. Have you ever been, the movies that don't get very good reviews are the ones that leave the story loop open, right? Now, in today's modern world, they want you to binge the next show. So that's how they do it. They take you on the hero's journey throughout the course of that episode, and then they leave you with the cliffhanger of, well, what's going to happen, right? They didn't close the story. And so if you're anybody like me, you'll spend a full 12 hours binging the whole entire series, right? Because I got to close that loop. It drives me nuts, right? And there's other people out there that are like me. And so now they want to know what success is going to look like for them, right? And then they're hooked, right? Now you can get into the details of the features of your products or service, but don't lead with that. So anything on that real quick, Kylene? I want to do a couple more things before I ask you to challenge me, but anything that I'm leaving out before I move forward here?
No, I think you hit that perfectly.
Okay.
Yep.
So we got them on the hook. Now, the same idea works for in-person selling, longer sales cycles, shorter sales cycles, e-commerce, etc. You just have to design your hero's journey to fit your business model, right? So again, what this started with was an e-commerce situation, right? Barb custom quotes everything, right? So this could work for her, right? Wherever you fit in that. Some people, do bigger packages with businesses, and so they might start their sales cycle a year in advance. Some people are just like, hey, you're walking in the door, they've got a storefront. We still have to have that hero's journey when they're walking in the door, and how do they get from point A to point B, right? And it all works the same way. It just looks a little bit different depending on what your business is. So, I don't know, Kylene, challenge me. See if we can
Okay.
do a hero's journey here real quick.
Okay. All right. So ideal customer, small business owner, 10 to 15 employees in a local community.
Okay.
They value supporting their community. They value quality, and they value customer service above and beyond.
Okay. And what is the product or service that is being offered to this ideal customer?
Personalized apparel.
Okay. So some of the folks tuned in right now can relate to that, I would assume, right? Okay. All right. Well, let's look at that then. Okay. So small business owner. So what's their challenge, right? So they're a small business owner. So and I'm going to make some assumptions here, right?
Yep.
So don't. I'm not saying that this is exactly right, and this is what if your ideal customer looks similar, their challenge is exactly the same. I'm just going to make some assumptions here so we can kind of to get to that. So they're a small business owner and they've got 10 to 15 employees, and they're local in a small community. They do value the community and they value quality and customer service, right? So their challenge is most likely, let's just say their challenge is they don't have time because they've got all these employees that they're managing, and this is the business owner that is making this buying decision on the personalized apparel, and they just want to have some. Maybe this is a landscaping business, right? And they've got 10 to 15 employees, and they just want to have all of their employees look good, but also have again quality, and they want to make sure that they're dealing with somebody locally, right? So I'm going to make sure that I'm really clear on who they are and saying, man, so much, I value so much that you want to work with a local business. I'd love to learn more about your business. So I can also, we're relating right now. I want to refer business to you too, type thing. And so we've kind of identified the customer, right? So we got that part. Now, let's identify what their challenge is. So we've introduced that character. Now, what's their challenge? And so then you can, maybe your next step is to say something along the lines of, I know having employees, I've had employees of my own, or I've, wherever you're at, let's just say you've got employees. I know how having employees can be a challenge. It can take up a lot of your time. It's maybe sometimes it feels like having an extra set of kids. And so I want to just make sure that I understand your challenges, that you want to get them to represent your company in a way that you're really proud of. And, I believe that we can do that. Right. And so then I go about saying, we only work in quality products. We guarantee everything that we produce for X number of washes. I know you're a landscaping company, so you guys are going to be going through this pretty heavy. And, that's how we help other businesses like you. And then I close my mouth. Right. And that's the hard part. Because see, at no point did I really say anything about the actual products, how I decorate them, or anything like that. Right. Maybe I brought up the fact that we only use quality products. And so brought that into the case. But let's just play like you're this business, Kylene. You're the landscape owner here. And I just told you all those things, So what would you be saying at that point?
Well, I appreciate that you're willing to get to know who I am and what we do here, and we love working
So
with.
You'd probably just say, interesting, tell me more. Because I'm the one selling,
Tell
not
me
you.
more. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Just trying to get you to play along, that you're
I
putting your
will.
sales hat back on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You were going well, but
No,
you're
go.
going way down the path. All right.
Tell me
So
more.
interesting. Tell me more. And then I would say, okay, well, what we do is we come to you, we figure out, how many packages you're going to need, how often do you think you'll need them. Then we set up a custom program for you to provide you the exact apparel and personalized apparel that you need. Your brand is going to be highlighted. People are going to go, wow, every time they see you. Your phone number is going to stand out. So would you be interested in getting a custom quote? I can get you over the details that I need from you, and we'll go from there.
Most definitely.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
All right. So hopefully that helped you guys. We wanted to just play a little bit there, but we're into our hour, and I want to do a little Q&A after this in a second. So I'm going to put another YouTube link. So two things are going to happen. We're going to get a little extra bonus time. I'm just going to do a Q&A. I don't know if Kylene's going to have time to join us or not here, but and then I've got to test a new service. So this is taking us over to this other service. So if you guys can meet me over there in a couple minutes, we'll keep this conversation going. But Kylene, let's just close this out from this end here. So I do appreciate everybody joining us. We'll talk about the takeaways over in the Q&A here in a second. But Kylene, what else do you have for folks before we close out here?
Just remember, we're here every Saturday to support you all. So if there's anything you guys want to hear about, learn about, please share with us. We really do appreciate you all for being here and being part of our conversation. Remember to share this with other entrepreneurs out there that you think might benefit from it.
Absolutely. And so go over to Live OSG. You can find that over there in a second, or just go directly to that link I put in there. Also, make sure you guys are part of the group at osg.link/group. Even if you are part of the group, you guys click over there anyhow, because that'll just take you right there, and put a post in there. What did you get out of today? What other things are you working on? What are you proud of? Right? What did you make this week? Put some pictures in there, right? I know I don't ask enough of those questions in there. I'm hoping that you guys will just jump in there and do those things. So yeah, check that out. All right. Well, Kylene, next week we are going to talk about customer service, and especially when things go wrong. Sandy, one of our MOS members, brought this topic up and said, hey, we're getting close to holidays. Let's talk about customer service, especially when things go wrong that are out of your control, right? Like, has anybody ever had a package not get delivered? Right? Things like that. How do we handle that stuff? Right. So we'll talk about that next week. So noon Central Time next week, everybody. That's all I got, Kylene. How about you?
I just want you guys to know that we truly do believe in you. I hope you continue to believe in yourself, stay positive, find something to be grateful for. It's going to get you there, and it's going to get you through some of those hard times. And we'll see you guys next week.
Awesome. We'll see you then. And I will see hopefully most of you over at the other YouTube link. So if you're catching us on Facebook, jump over to YouTube there. All right. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling stuck, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights with the support of our success group. We'll take it fight.